I'm way too high again, and I was hoping that you would open your heart and go and let me in. I never show it, but I can't focus 'cause you're lost. Ecstasy, we can fall apart tomorrow, but tonight, let's see. This is meant to be, oh no. I don't wanna say goodbye, I just wanna love you one more time and stay up through the day and night. I'm trying to get to you, girl, I won't lie. I need someone to hold, so don't let go. I need you here the most, you already know. I don't wanna say goodbye, I just wanna love you one more time. And I say fuck all of your friends, I was hoping that you'd be open to distance. When the night begins, I get to know you and I can show you what's missing. Not too good at goodbyes, I'll see you later. Baby, it's you and I, and there are haters. Only one on my mind, don't wanna chase her. Cause your love's ecstasy. We could fall apart tomorrow, but tonight, let's see if this is meant to be, oh no. I don't wanna say goodbye, I just wanna love you one more time and stay up through the day and night. I'm trying to get to you, girl, I won't lie. I need someone to hold, so don't let go. I need you here the most, you already know. I don't wanna say goodbye, I just wanna love you one more time. I don't know how you got me feeling like this, and I just know that we could make it work. 'Cause I don't wanna say goodbye, I just wanna love you one more time and stay up through the day and night. I'm trying to get to you, girl, I won't lie. I need someone to hold, so don't let go. I need you here the most, you already know. I don't wanna say goodbye, I just wanna love you one more time.
The clock, it taunts me, tells me I should be 30,000 feet in the air, but I'm only 6 feet. Still drowning in the thought I'll never be enough. Looking at myself and thinking he doesn't deserve your love. I can't escape the feeling I'm not human. It's just a subliminal act. I think I'm losing my mind, working overtime till my heart.
The Morning Fix live radio show will begin shortly. For your best news coverage and commentary, tune in daily at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on The Morning Fix. The Morning Fix live radio show will begin shortly. All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another live radio show here on the Morning Fix Live Radio Show. I'm your host, Macho. It is Wednesday, 10:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10/5/2022. It is 57 degrees and cloudy here in New York City. Hello, everybody. We got a doozy waiting for us here, and we are excited to have this show. By the way, just some quick little additives here. There is a poll running. I don't know if you guys can see that. If you're on the website of Twitch, you guys can probably search, rummage through the a page. You can see there's a poll there. Give us a thumbs up. See how we're doing. Give us a thumbs down. Maybe we need work. You guys could be helpful in letting us know that. Also, we also have some sound alerts. You spend some bits, just like gifts, and you get yourself a sound alert there so we can get you guys engaging with the chat. And you're probably going to want to engage today because we're going to have Kiki from TikTok here on the live radio show. Here, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of things, and it's probably going to be no holds barred. It's probably going to get emotional. It's probably not. I'm not really like that. I just want to have a conversation and get down to the bottom of some things. All right, so without further ado, let's get Keisha back in here. Keisha, good morning. I got way too much
Morning.
for you.
What'd you say?
I got too much energy for you. You're just there holding your cup.
I mean, good morning. Good morning. The Hood Republican
All right.
is in the building.
Her Republican is in the house.
Is
All right,
in
let's do our rounds here.
the
Good
building.
morning, Ted. How are we? Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, AJ. AJ's in the building. Brian, good morning. Good morning, Christine. Or Christina, I should say, right? Christina? Yeah.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
Prince. Bumblebee Tuna, the bowling alley. Good morning, Heather. Welcome. Good morning,
Morning,
Snowman,
Pudding.
Katie. Oh, we have a visitor from Sydney. Shout out Sydney, Australia. Our brothers over there. What's going on? We got. Oh, I said hello. Good morning. We can't double dip here. Mr. Full Service, aka Glenn on Simply Sundays, is in the house. Good morning. How we doing?
Morning, Glenn.
Who else do we have here? We have everybody. We got to everybody. Good morning, everybody. Should be a doozy. Should be a fun show. How you doing today, Keisha? You ready for it? I got something to get our gears going, to get us at least warmed
Let's
up a
just say
little.
this. Let's just say this. I'm gonna say thank you in advance to Kiki for joining us.
For being
And
here, for biting the
yeah,
bait.
yeah, and yeah. I think I'm ready. I made a smoothie this morning. Fighting this
Ooh,
migraine
what kind of
for
smoothie?
um, it's a protein show. It's got bananas and blueberries and but I put it together. Let's get it popping.
Right? Yeah, we need to maybe get some Excedrin or something going. I'm not
Dude,
sure if anyone could.
Excedrin? No. I have a
Let's see.
prescription. Excedrin.
You have a
No.
prescription? Okay.
Yeah, I have a
Oh,
script for
okay.
this, man.
All
Are
right.
you
My
crazy?
bad.
Come on, let's go.
What
Let's do
kind
it.
of script? I'm curious. Wait. What kind of script? What kind of script we talking here?
It's a script for you're such an ass for migraines, biatch.
Gotch. Okay. By the way, anyone in the chat, please help me out. Is the poll working? Do you guys see the poll? There should be a poll there, and you guys could give us a grade whether or not if the show give your answers here. I think it's going. Is it going? Not sure. Let's see. Oh, let's see now. Do you guys see the poll that is up now in the chat? Just curious.
I can see it. Let me go. I'm on the morning.
It's what was the yep, there's a poll working. That's right. So you guys just go ahead, look through the page, find that poll, give us a grade. Are we doing great or do we need work? You guys let us know. You guys give us the litmus test. I think it's about time to get that assessment going. So, you know.
All right, got it.
There it is. Sweet Kiss. Oh, we got another new. Look at this. Another new Sweet Kiss 79. Welcome to the Morning Fix Live Radio Show. Thanks for tuning in. A first time
Welcome.
viewer here. Got to give a shout out to all the first time viewers. And if I miss a first time viewer, all the regulars, if you see a new name you haven't seen, give them a shout out in the chat. Say, hey, Give them a welcoming hand. Say welcome to the Circle in the Morning Fix Live Radio Show. All right, I got something to get us going, to at least get us started here. And this is Nancy Pelosi saying her madness. I don't know what the hell she was saying here, but if if the shoe fits, right, wear it. And here's Nancy Pelosi talking about the migrants in response to why DeSantis was shipping them up to Martha's Vineyard instead. Here she has another problem.
Immigration reform. We have a shortage of workers in our country, and you see even in Florida, some of the farmers and the growers saying, why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here.
You need somebody to pick the crop.
We need somebody to pick the crops. Go ahead, Keisha. Go ahead. Look at that face. Look at that face.
Okay. Look, right here. It's too early. I mean, we've been on live for on air for 4 minutes. This just shows the level of ignorance that is in this current administration. Who in there, like, does she know immigrants are like doctors and dentists and everything else? Like, they're only good to pick our crops. Did she say?
That's it.
You know what's amazing? You know what's amazing too is it out loud, and then she doesn't even like hear herself and say, "Oh,
Oh, she hears herself.
that sounds bad. I probably shouldn't say that. Oh, I'm sorry. That didn't come out quite how I thought it would." Laugh it off. I mean, I don't know. She's ignorant. She's stupid.
Yeah, 100%.
And
100%.
she's beyond
Like,
drunk.
what the heck is she? At this point, she is definitely beyond drunk, and she needs to, hopefully, very soon, she'll stop being the Speaker of the House. So, Lord willing.
Hopefully,
What's going on, Frankie?
yeah.
Another shout out to Good Morning, Rita. How are you? All right. So I got another one to piss Keisha off here. And hopefully you guys can spot what I spot. This is back when Ronald Reagan was the president and providing amnesty and signing a immigration bill that provided amnesty to over 3 million illegal aliens at the time. That's how they were described. Here they are. Let's get that going. Oh, who that? Who is that? Who is that? To the right of your screen, to the left, right to your screen, Keisha. Who's that young guy right there?
He's very young. Why don't you tell the audience?
Who's that guy over there to the far?
That young guy.
That's Chuck Schumer. That's Chuck Schumer. Look at him. Does he look like he hate Reagan?
Mm.
He looks really
Look at
excited
that.
to be there with Reagan. Look at him. Look at him shake hands with the devil
Smiling
himself. Look
like
at him
a chess
smiling.
cat. Okay, just like a chess.
We got you. We got you, Chuck. We knew it all along, baby. We knew it all along, Chucky. Oh, man. Oh, man. 1986. One of the freshman representatives, or I don't know if he was a senator yet. He was a representative. There you go. You had Chuck Schumer in the wing assisting in the amnesty for 3 million migrants in 1986, to which Republicans led the way in that, by the way, just so y'all know. Just so y'all know.
Okay.
So I just wanted to get our gears going and to kind of, get us warmed up for today. So I think we're good to go.
Let's do it.
Macho, let me get that monitor. What is that? What monitor? This monitor here? Is that what Frank is talking about? Oh, all right.
Oops, Sergeant. Bring our guest on. What's this?
All right, so let's get Kiki on. I think Kiki's ready. Good morning, Kiki. Oh, he's got the Lakers jersey on now, representing.
Oh, he changed. Look at that. We went from the Rockets to the Lakers.
He came prepared.
morning.
He's full LA. He's fully LA'd out. Look at you. Look at you go. Kiki, where you from, man? Are you from California?
Yeah, so I live in Cali, but I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. But I've been living in Cali
okay.
the last
Little Rock.
12 years.
Yeah, Little Rock. So you left Little Rock and went to a place that's tough, but not as tough as Little Rock, Arkansas. So you probably seen better days now that you're in California.
That's correct.
This man is from a
Mm.
rough neighborhood, Keisha.
Just so you know, I'm a
What's that?
I'm a Californian born and raised. So
Yeah, so I live in San Diego right now.
you
Oh,
live in
you in? Oh, you?
you live in
Oh,
luxury.
oh,
You don't really live in
oh,
okay. We got it now. We got it now.
That's right.
oh, you got money to live in San Diego, brother.
A little bit.
Yeah, there
We're
you
doing
go.
all
So,
right. You know, we ain't where we want to be. We still got goals to accomplish, but we getting there.
yeah, San Diego's a nice spot. I'll tell you that much.
Looks like that.
It's much better
They're
than
taking
Little
full
Rock,
advantage of
Arkansas.
some
That's for sure.
look, he taking full advantage of some of them
I saw.
opportunities, huh?
I saw.
Mm.
What
Oh,
opportunities?
we
Mm.
have to. You know what I'm saying? Not only do we have to take advantage of them, but we have to create our opportunities, and we have to, for me to be right here, I can tell you it's a stark difference from where I'm from and from where I'm at. With how I'm treated in public, how law enforcement deals with me. It's a big difference, and so, but we'll leave it at that for now.
And tell us a little bit about Little Rock. I've read a lot about Little Rock. I grew up looking at the hood beef, especially with the hip hop industry, and Little Rock would come up a lot. Can you tell us a little bit about your personal and authentic experience growing up in Little Rock, Arkansas?
Yeah, I'll share a little bit, man. Of course, like most, black young men, I'm from, the inner city, Little Rock, Arkansas is probably about, I don't know, 10% black. Most of us are, located in the inner city. But for me, I grew up to a mom, single mother. However, my father was around. He just didn't live in the house with me. But
Mm-hmm.
we definitely we had a rough go of it. My mom was a nurse until she had to retire early because of a medical condition.
Okay.
But so I lived right in the thick of things. You probably heard of a documentary that HBO did back in the day in the early '90s called "Banging in Little Rock."
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
those areas that they featured in Little Rock. That's exactly where I grew up. So I grew up in some of the toughest streets of America. I've seen a lot of things with Little.
Had the highest murder capital. They were like the murder
Yep,
capital for a while, right?
for a while. That's
Hmm.
correct. We
Yeah.
were the murder capital for
Hmm.
a while here. Just a bunch of senseless things going on, bunch of gang violence. Just so that's the era that I grew up in. With that being said, just with support from family and friends, and just my own personal will, wanted to escape that that life. So I did end up, going to college, going to the military, um, meeting
Oh, okay.
a beautiful young woman, and you know, um, here I am. Now I'm in Cali. So again, but yeah,
Beautiful.
Little Rock
Beautiful.
is, it's a great place. It's a place that I still call home. But
Right.
one of the things that, while there's definitely gang violence, that wasn't the biggest thing for someone like myself, because someone as a law-abiding citizen, someone that's trying to do right, because I grew up in certain areas. Sometimes I was treated as such, right? I'm treated as a gang member. I'm treated as
Okay.
the opposition to society just by being a black man in Little Rock. And so my first encounter with law enforcement happened when I was probably around 12 years old, coming from the boys club. Boys and girls club is what they call it today. But playing basketball with some of my friends,
Were
police
some of
officer
your
sees,
were some of your
huh?
friends affiliated, or were none of you
Nah,
guys affiliated?
of course, I have friends that are affiliated. I know people that are actual gang members. I got family members that were gang members as well. But what I see as far as being gang members, those guys weren't bad. It was just, that's just what you did, in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
But with that comes a lot of other stuff, and we can get into that. But for me, the gangs were not a threat to me. What's funny is a lot of those guys would like, nah, this ain't for you. They wouldn't let me hang out on the blocks with them.
Hmm.
They noticed that I was a smart kid, and they were like, "Hey, man, you need to keep going to school." So a lot of that I felt protected in my neighborhood. I know a lot of people. There's a lot of stories about fear and about just the nonsense that goes on in our communities, and sometimes it's even glorified. But what I found is that these guys were just trying to make a way for themselves. Unfortunately, sometimes things did get out of control. But for me, they protected me. They never forced me to do something I never wanted to do, and they always protected me. But again, like I said, the biggest challenge for me was how I was treated by law enforcement in that city. That was one of the
Okay.
toughest things to overcome.
Now you graduated high school, then you went and joined the military. What made you go into the military?
Money,
Oh, money.
like
Okay,
most poor kids, right?
okay,
Let's be real. Honestly, I had a at that time I wanted to maybe pursue some sort of political career, maybe. But at the end of the day, I joined because number one, and I joined pre 9/11. So understand, I'm 40, right? So
okay.
I joined the military pre 9/11. 9/11 actually happened while I was in the military, so I was serving when that happened. But I joined because I was actually a freshman in college. I came back home and on my bed, you know how you have a bunch of mail, and it was like you get a $10,000 sign-up bonus, which is a lie. but
Yeah,
but that was one of the things that caught my attention. I was like, I'm just a poor college kid. All of my friends got nice cars, nice whips. They eating what they want. Me, I'm just struggling to eat in the cafeteria, and that wasn't a fun life. And so I wanted to better myself. I'm glad I went to the military. I met a lot of great friends, learned a lot of awesome things. I did develop a sense of pride for this nation and this country doing that.
Oh,
But I did my
okay,
four and I
Kiki.
got out.
Okay, Kiki.
Here
What
we
what
go.
All
branch?
right, let's
What branch of the
hold
military
on,
before Keisha? Hold on,
hold,
Keisha.
hold. No, 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 no. Stop.
I'm trying to warm
Stop.
up.
Pause.
I'm trying to warm up. Let's get to
No,
know Kiki
no,
first.
no, and absolutely no. Please, as in the words of Lumberjack, pause. Pause.
hmm
What is actually going on right now?
What do you mean? What's going on right now?
What? We had you in alive, I think, for 4 hours yesterday.
That's
hmm
right.
Okay, Kiki. You different today. It was yesterday in that live. Did you just say you have lotion? I hear
Well,
you.
well, yesterday I was in the live with
Correct.
some white supremacists. So let's get that out the way real quick. And so when I'm
Oh,
in
is
the
that what it
live
was?
with people that are agitators, naturally I'm gonna be agitated. And we were
Okay.
discussing, I felt like was a sensitive topic. I mean, we got one of our um, fallen heroes wearing a White Lives Matter shirt, and to be frank with you, that's very hurtful to our community. And so when you have white supremacists, given energy by an old hero of the black community, that's a upsetting sight. And then when you have black people co-signing that, that was a horrible situation. So I was in there live just hanging around trying to drop some knowledge and not allow people to, number one, laugh at the plight of black people in this nation.
Okay. Now, I before we dive into it, I did ask it. I'm curious. What branch of the military?
Army.
Army.
Who
Okay. All right. So I thank you for your service, Kiki. Appreciate it. And for those who are tuning in, how do I pronounce the last name here? I don't want to
Hussein.
Hussein. I didn't want to make the assumption. We're sitting down with Kiki Hussein from TikTok, and we're going to dive into the topics in which it's pretty controversial about white supremacy and about agitation and all that stuff. So I want to define on your terms, Kiki, what is in your terms agitation or being an agitator in light of white supremacy?
Yeah, well, um, again, someone who's an agitator is obviously someone who's adversarial to the black cause or lacking empathy, right?
Okay,
There are facts, historical facts,
right.
that this country has put black people through that no other race has had to go through. And
Mhm.
that's just these are facts. And I know other races get sensitive when black people begin to speak about their plight. right? But there are things that this country put black people through that no other race had to endure, that no other race had to go through.
Mhm.
And for us to sit here and act like, oh, we passed a few bills, 20, 30 years ago, that everything is okay, um, is asinine. And on top of that, when you have what I call, again, agitators, individuals who are lacking empathy, lacking knowledge, lacking historical context of how we got here. That's a frustrating conversation. It's almost like having a conversation with a toddler. You're trying to explain rocket science to a toddler. That's how it feels. Be,
So so every time you have these conversations, you feel that way. That
Not
it's
every
like
time,
okay,
but when I have them with certain groups of individuals who I call agitators, those that either don't know or those that do know the history but misrepresent it. Yeah, that's a frustrating conversation, brother.
okay, and agitators could they do? Are they white? Are they black?
They can be
You know,
any race. A
it could
race.
be
That's
any.
one of the
Okay,
things that I've noticed is agitators can be of any race, and white supremacy can be upheld by any race. And when I say white supremacy, I need the white people to know I'm not talking about white people per se. White supremacy is an ideology, right?
okay.
That you see, yeah.
The
So
white
that's
supremacy
an
ideology.
white supremacy is an ideology
Go ahead.
that says that my race is superior, and we have embedded systems in place to make sure that this race stays superior by artificial means.
Oh, okay. So you mean the people
Uh,
outside the white race could in a sense take on to that ideology and
They
uphold
can
it and
take on
push
that
it forward.
ideology and they can defend the system, or they can ignore the existence of white supremacy, which allows white supremacy to perpetuate.
Interesting. Okay. And when you okay, so agitation is anyone who does a lack of empathy, anyone who's adversarial to the black cause, and there was one more there, brother. That I want to make sure that we're on the same page here. What was the other one? I'm sorry.
Well, repeat that again. I apologize,
So
brother.
it was lack of empathy, adversarial to the black cause, and there was
Yeah.
one other thing. Oh,
Lacking knowledge and
lack of knowledge
historical
and history.
context.
Okay.
oh my God.
And this could be agitators could be on come on, Keisha. Bear with it, Keisha. Come on now. Come on now.
This is like
So
killing me. Like my stomach is cramping right
No,
now.
but
Like what is
but this is
happening?
what happens when
No, this
when
isn't
I
Kiki
enter the
because
room.
this is
This is
no.
what happens. The presence, the energy changes.
Kiki,
When Kiki Hussein
Kiki,
steps into the room,
Kiki.
the energy changes, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. Okay, so check this out here because this is like my space right here. So hold up, check it out, dude.
uh,
You come in, you come in, and you know, Kiki, you know, I know you well. You come into our space, right? Tell us that we're agitators, that we don't have empathy, sympathy, compassion, whatever. Kiki, we black, okay? We're black.
go ahead.
But what we're
So
Go
not
ahead.
gonna do, hold up. You went on a monologue for minutes because that's what macho
okay,
allowed. Now it's
you're
my
right.
turn. So, what you're not gonna do is you're not gonna come in here and tell us who we are just based on the way we react or the things that we say because it doesn't go along with your narrative and how you see and you view things. Okay. So I have a black brother, I have a black father, I have black uncles. Like, there's a lot of black men in my life, very strong black men who put me here. My father was a product of the era of Jim Crow, Monroe, Louisiana, Deep South, colored drinking
Oh
fountains.
yeah,
He
that's
experienced
it.
it, he lived it, he knows it. So when you come in and you start talking your rhetoric and your nonsense, if the very black man who married my very black mother who had very black children, okay, is not speaking the same nonsense in which you speak about white people, why on God's green earth should we entertain what you have to say? I'm being real with it, okay? He never told us we were less than. He never told us. You know what he told us? He said black people were smarter and wiser then. People had more then. You know what? We were united. You, on the other hand, want to tell us that everything is rooted in white supremacy. I don't get it. I will never end it. And when you say we lack the knowledge, what knowledge do I need? I have a history called Victor, whom is my father.
So
Okay. No disrespect to your father at all, because this is between us, right?
You can't
Like,
disrespect
all of
him,
us
but you
have
can't
origins,
disrespect him.
right? I'm not. But when you show yourself, you know what I'm saying, is based on what you put out. You know, if you are someone who thinks that it's cool for a black man
Cool
to
to
walk
what?
around here in a White Lives Matter shirt, or if you think that it's cool for white
I
people
don't
to offer me
see.
pieces of
I don't
watermelon
care.
and chicken, if you think that those things are acceptable, then you and we're going to have some stark differences and some harsh, probably some harsh exchanges, because that's not what I call respect, right? I
I
don't
don't
call
care.
respect.
That's the difference
I
between you
know
and I. I don't care because it doesn't impact my life directly. Kanye West did that as a ploy. He did. That's what he does. He's an attention seeker. You know that, and I know
that's the
that.
definition of sellout, though, right? That's the definition
Not
of
the
sellout.
definition
He's not seeking
of
attention. He's
sellout.
actually seeking white
Listen,
validation.
he
That's the
is not.
difference,
He
because
is not.
you can do marketing without seeking white validation. Kanye
That's your
West is
opinion.
someone who
That's your
is,
opinion. That's your opinion.
that it's not an opinion, it's a fact.
That's your take on it because you don't like it. Does Kanye West only employ white people?
I don't care who he employs. You can
Oh,
employ
of course
black
you don't.
people and still be an idiot.
Okay. And still sell out, right? Still sell out your community. He's
That's
selling us
right. You
out.
know how many
Who is he
white people
selling us to
had our
exactly?
people picking cotton,
Oh, Jesus.
funding their businesses, taking care of their children while hating us?
Are we picking cotton now?
That's
Because
that's a mentality that white supremacy
listen,
has passed down to some
no,
black people, and some
no,
of us
that same
are
white
embracing
no,
the
no, no,
mentality
no.
of the oppressor.
Listen, that same mentality has put you where you're at today. It afforded you to go to the military, go to college, and it afforded you
No,
to have a good life. Oh, you sure about that?
no, it didn't. No, that's
No.
not the mentality. No, I had a totally different mentality. I've been a liberal since I'm not one of these people that's wishy-washy, that was conservative one time and switched over to liberal, or somebody that was liberal at one time and switched to conservative. You know, my family, even though I come from a single parent home, I had a very strong family structure that was very proud of our history, that was
Mm-hmm.
very outspoken about the challenges that our community faces, and that were very active in our community to reverse some of the harms
Exactly.
that white supremacy has laid upon the steps of our houses. So,
Okay.
like you come from
Mm-hmm.
some people that have extreme pride and extreme knowledge, and has helped you get to where you are. So did I, but it's two different ideologies that got us here. I want to be clear about that.
yeah,
Okay.
I need clarification on how can a black person be a white supremacist or for the ideology of pushing the cause. I just need a little more clarity on that.
Yep. So I'm sure all of us, well, maybe some of us, are familiar with Boondocks, written by and illustrated by Aaron Magruder. They had a character on there called Uncle Ruckus, who
Oh yeah, we get
is
called
a
that all the time.
character who is black as tar, however, thinks he's a white guy, upholding the tenets of white supremacy by, number one, always agitating black people, telling them that they're not good enough, they'll never be better than something else, always pointing out and highlighting the issues of the black community, but never addressing the root cause of any of those issues. And my lady she about to go to work real quick. I need to say bye to her, and then we can come back
Oh
and
yeah, no
we
problem.
can
Yeah,
jump back into
we'll
this.
take a quick break.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
take a
take
quick
your
break.
time.
Don't worry about it.
We'll drop you out. Yeah, we'll take it.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
We'll take a quick break, folks. We'll be right back. And also, if you haven't found the poll yet, we started a poll. Just navigate through the channel and just answer the poll. And also, we have some sound alerts. If you purchase some bits, you'll be able to get some sound alerts going. Hey, you might want to get some sound alerts in this clip here, because this is a pretty heavy
I'm
conversation.
about to
So we'll be
vodka
back. We'll be back in a moment.
Grey Goose
Keisha.
right now.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Fix Live radio show. I'm your host, Macho. We're here kicking it here with Kiki Hussein, having a tough conversation about white supremacy. What does it mean to be white supremacist? Is an ideology, and how can black people be involved in pushing this ideology? And already we're getting off to a heated start between Keisha and Kiki Hussein here, which is, of course, to be had because, like, Keisha, he said his argument is two ideologies got us to this place. Two different ideologies, right?
Okay, dude.
What? Now we'll expound on that. We'll
No, man.
we're gonna
Like,
expound on that. But
I'm already
what's
like,
that?
I'm ready to like kick the doggone computer thing over. Like, I don't even know what I was
Uh,
thinking I could do this
uh,
conversation at stupid.
you got this. We're
That was
here.
stupid.
We got
Where's
this.
Kiki at? Because I
No,
got a
no.
question already about
I'm back.
Mr. Ruckus. Kiki,
All right.
let me
Let's
just say
go.
this. Jesus help me. Okay, just said about it's funny to me. So you're talking about the Uncle Ruckus and he's black as tar and he thinks black people this and that, right? Do you need to deal with that? You good? You good? Okay. So my thing is this: when you say we are agents of white supremacy, we don't do that. We know that we're better. We know we can do anything. We're not trying to put black people down. We're trying to lift them up. So I don't understand how we're comparison right now.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I think everyone is familiar with some of the challenges of the black community. I mean, they're well publicized by our media, mainstream and alt media. All media loves to demonize the black community. Let's get that out first and foremost. So we're all very familiar with the challenges that our community faces. Some of these challenges are unique to our community, right? However, the challenge that I have is that conservatives like to say, hey, because we like to point out white supremacy and some of the root causes that we're not for self-reliance. Obviously, my life is a total, my life bashes that notion in the head. We have LLCs, we run businesses, we're very self-reliant, we overcome struggles. But what I see, my problem with conservatives is they don't like to acknowledge the hurdles that are there. For me to be here, sitting here where I am, not only did it take a little bit of luck, it took a lot of hard work. And say what?
That were there? Because you know that those are everyone.
No, they don't exist for everyone. I'm sorry to tell you, these hurdles don't exist for everyone, right? But it's subtle
the
things.
wealthy people,
And like I said,
the wealthy people.
I made the
if you're
statement
wealthy,
yesterday that white supremacy is subtle. I mean, white supremacy isn't, the president hanging out, out of his window yelling the N-word. That's not what racism is. If that's what you're looking for in racism, you're never going to find it. And that's why a lot of people can always say that it doesn't exist, because it's very subtle.
Here's
It's not.
here's the problem that I'm having, Kiki, because it
Go
seems
ahead.
to
Go
be
ahead with your problems.
it seems to be elusive, right? You're saying we can spot it, we could identify it as you're eloquently explaining it, but then you're saying you're not going to see it in these particular ways. So
I'm
it
not. You're
sounds
not going to
like
see. I can describe ways you can't see it. I can describe ways, but the thing is, again, the problem that I have is that conservatives often like to ignore the root causes, right? Let's take.
yeah, and that's
ignoring.
I have a
What
problem.
are
I have
we
another problem
ignoring?
with that. So I'm gonna go ahead with my other problem here. And the abolitionists were conservatives. So
The
how did they
abolitionists
ignore
were
that?
liberals, sir.
No. They were Republicans.
What you should do is you should look up the definition of liberal. Liberal, not
Right.
what the hacks on One News and alt right media has turned the word into today, but the actual definition of liberal is actually to change, right?
Sure.
Liberals want
Yeah,
change.
we're on the same
So
page
when
there.
people like to say
What I'm saying is
Republicans or
the liberals
conservatives
had
freed the slaves, no, it was actually liberals that freed slaves, right? Let's be honest. When you look at that, when you want to be conservative, that means you want to remain the same.
well,
So
this
there
is
is
going
no
against
way on God's
there's
green
been
earth
some
that you
Kiki.
can promote that conservatives
Mm.
freed the slaves.
there's been some very prominent historians, not white, both on both sides, white and black,
Who?
have argued and jots for this position that it was the Republican Party that had the most abolitionists. It was the abolitionists that fought to
Okay,
free the
yeah, well, I
slaves.
will give you that.
And
I'll say that the
right, so
Republican Party may have done it, but
conservatism
those
rooted
people
in
that made up the
traditionalism,
Republican
rooted in
Party at the time had
religiosity.
very
Hold on,
liberal
Kinky. Let me finish this point.
ideas.
Let me finish this point. It was
Go ahead, bro.
conservatism rooted in traditionalism that was rooted in religiosity that had that empathy that you're looking for to then lead to the mistreatment towards Black Americans that we saw in our country's history. They changed that, and a lot of people lives were cost during that time frame in the Civil War. And how can we simply just say, oh, we just write off the conservatives? And also, to my second point on this, is you keep saying alt-right media. Alt-right media is the alternative right. What is the
All
alternative
white
to the
media.
right?
That's what I said. I said
All
alt
white?
white.
All white?
Let's be clear. I said alt white media, but yeah,
Well,
alt right is alt white. Yeah,
well, there's a lot of white dead bodies in the ground that fought for our freedom
there
in this
are.
country.
There are. One of the greatest white men ever lived was John Brown. Shout out to John Brown and the Brown
Yeah,
family.
I agree with you. And most abolitionists were white. So I mean, what are we
Yeah.
doing here?
Oh no. For progress to happen, you need intelligent white people with you, people that
Oh
are
my
empathetic, and
God.
people that want to see change and help
Okay,
foster to bring that change into a reality. And throughout history, there's
okay.
always been people of color. I don't hate white people. Again, when you start saying white supremacy, this is another thing that I don't like about conservatives. They always want to say, "Oh, you hate white people." You know, when
I
black
didn't
What?
say
people
that.
start to speak and we
You
start to
got the
point out
wrong guy.
racism, which is
I
why
didn't say
a
that.
lot of conservatives
Hold up.
elect not to
Hold up.
do it, is because you yourself get blamed as a racist, which is ridiculous. That's like saying, "Oh, because I point out somebody that's a terrorist, I'm a terrorist," or if I point out somebody that's been, assaulted, I'm the rapist.
Yeah,
That's
I didn't
ridiculous.
say you hate white people. You got the wrong guy here. I'm saying, is
Yeah,
it
that's
wrong
where
to
we're
say
going.
all white lives matter though? Is it wrong to say that too? Just like all black lives
It's
matter.
not. It's not
Is it
wrong to
wrong?
say that, but it
All
is
right.
wrong to stir emotion. Because first of all, there would never be a phrase "white lives matter" if there had not been the phrase "black lives matter." Let's admit some truths real quick,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All lives matter doesn't exist without Black lives matter. Blue lives matter. There are no blue lives, but blue lives matter does not exist without Black lives matter.
Hmm.
The phrase white lives matter would not exist without Black lives matter. And all of those other phrases are there for two reasons: to distract and destroy um,
Well,
the
guess what?
attention from Black lives. Because
Well,
what
guess
that
what?
is saying, and Kanye West is endorsing, Kanye West is, and we, as Black people in America, that says we cannot have a conversation about the value of Black life without involving the white man,
What?
which is
Well,
asinine.
we live
And
in a
Kanye
country
West just
with
gave a
white
bunch
people.
of racist people a hard on. Literally, I heard somebody tell me
Wow.
that yesterday.
Sure.
You know what I'm
Okay, hold
saying?
up. Pump your
Yeah.
brakes.
All right.
First of all, what we're not getting ready to do is you're not getting ready to come in here and say that Mikey is racist because he is not. So
Well,
that's what the
I'm
fuck
just telling
we
the
will
truth.
not
You
do
can
this
decide for
morning.
what you
Hold
want.
up.
For
Hold up.
me,
Hold the
Mikey,
fuck up.
whoever
Hold
his
up.
name, Mike,
No,
first
no,
of all,
no,
his
no,
name
no,
is
no, no,
Mikey
no,
the
no, no,
Patriot, and
no,
he ain't
no,
probably
no.
served a day in his
Hold
life
up.
on anything.
Hold the fuck on. Hold up. So what the fuck we will not do? You will not come into our space and you will not disrespect the very people that exist in it. So that's what we're not going to do. I'm going to remain respectful as long as you remain
If
respectful.
me telling the
Hold
truth
on.
is
Hold.
disrespectful,
I'm
I'm
speaking.
sorry.
You will not speak over me. The moment that you enter this space and the moment that you think that you will delegate and dictate how this space will be ran is the moment you are sadly mistaken. You
Yeah. So
will
Okay,
now
not
we're
disrespect my
sister.
entering the realm because you said if telling the truth is this, that is a form of agitation. So now you have a lack of that empathy. Now you're becoming an agitator, right? So in
I'm not
anywhere in
becoming
this
an agitator when I speak the truth on something. That's not agitation. When I tell you that
That's your
somebody
truth.
did something
okay,
or
That's your
something
okay.
truth.
happened, that's not
That's
So
your
agitating.
truth.
If the truth is agitating, that's your problem, not
No,
mine.
okay,
that's your problem because that's your
right,
truth. That's your
right,
It's
truth.
not my
and
truth.
Because
There
I'm
was
not
like
the one.
500
I'm
people in
not
that
the one.
live,
So
so
you
I'm
know
sure
what?
other
You got
people can
Macho.
corroborate that story.
Macho. Oh, Macho is here to be the calm one. I'm not the one. See, I'll go toe to toe and get real ignorant in this bitch real quick.
I
So I'm
don't care
trying to
how
act
ignorant you
right.
get.
No,
I'm
I'm trying to
gonna
act right.
remain intelligent. I'm
I
gonna
am
continue to pump the
trying
truth, and you're
to.
gonna continue to have to deal with it.
No,
So
I'm sorry. What you just say? What you just say? I'm gonna have to do what?
I
Repeat.
will continue to pump the truth, and you will have to deal with it however you feel, however
Just
emotionally you
because
get
you speak
about
it
me
doesn't mean it's
exposing
the
the people
truth.
you hang out with
Just
and revere.
because you speak
That's
it
on
doesn't
you.
mean it's the truth. That's the
It is the
problem you
truth.
have. You think because it comes out of your mouth that it's the truth. That is not the case. It is your opinion. It is what you think. It is what you feel. Be clear on what the truth is.
Yeah, I have to. I side with Keisha on that. I mean, again,
That's
I
fine. I mean, I didn't come here for agreement. I know where I
well,
was coming to.
I've agreed with you in some cases because again, it's saying all lives matter. We all agree on that. Black lives matter. We
Right.
agree on that. White lives
Yeah.
matter. We agree on that. Right? There's areas where we could agree. The problem that I'm having here, for example, the Uncle Ruckus analogy, when you said that he uh, 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 how you describe that whole scenario there, that character, could he not be a form of accountability?
For you to have accountability, you must first have care.
But
And Uncle Ruckus has no care for the
but for
community.
the
If you do not
character of him,
care about my community, you cannot hold me accountable.
for him calling out the BS that was going on in his community, could that be a way of him caring about his community?
Again, for you to hold my community accountable, you must first have a care and affection for my community. You
We
cannot
are the
hate.
community. That's the part that's killing me right now. You keep saying my community. We're
It
black.
is my
How can
community.
we
It's
not?
yours
How
too.
can we not? Yes, but how can we not care about the very community that we belong to? This doesn't even make sense.
Did we come here to sing Kumbaya, or did we come here to talk about it? Because I'm
No,
not
Yeah,
here to
we're
be
we're
saying
doing
Kumbaya.
it.
I didn't
Yeah,
come
we're
here to
doing it.
sing Kumbaya with y'all.
Yeah, but
That's not why I'm here.
yeah, I got you. So I'm just saying the Uncle Ruckus character could be seen in the way that you're seeing him, but he could also be seen as an accountability factor. And you're saying you can't because he doesn't care about his community,
Correct.
but he lives in and amongst the community, calling out the
Hmm.
community. So I
As
don't
an
understand how he
agitator,
doesn't.
some people are plants, right? Some people are what you would call agents for the other side. Some people are they live in the community, they live right next door to you, but they are
What's the other
enemies right
side,
now.
though, Kiki?
And
What's the other
that's
side?
what's dangerous about 2022. You know, at least in 1940, my grandfather knew, oh, okay, we can't go over there because they got signs up that said they don't like us, right?
Sure,
But now they had to
right,
take those signs down, but they still don't like us.
right. The signs don't have to be there, and they also don't have to like us either, right? We live in that kind of country where we don't have to like them either, right?
Right, but if you are the side that has all the power, if you're the one that owns the restaurants, if you're the one that owns all the swimming pools, if you're the one that's the gatekeeper of
When is that
jobs and
happening in
education, that's
2022?
going to be
When is
much
that
more
happening in
destructive than me
2022?
hating you. Again, like
Where is
people like to say that hate is equal, but
okay,
it's
but
not just
where
the
is
hate.
that
It's having
happening
the
in
system behind
2022?
you that can enforce the hate against me. I don't have a
Okay,
system that can enforce. If you feel that I hate white people, you lucky. Then I don't have a system that can
stop,
enforce my hate.
stop, stop,
But for the
stop.
white people that hate me, they have a system that they can enact against us, and that's where these Karens come from. When I'm bird watching and a white
Okay,
lady calls
okay,
the police
okay,
on me,
okay,
or if I'm
okay,
at the
okay.
barbecue and my white neighbor calls
Hey,
the police on
stop,
me because my
Kiki,
music is
Kiki,
too loud or they
Kiki,
smell cigarette smoke or whatever, you know,
Kiki.
that's them using the
Are you
system
driving?
to enact
Do you
their
want
hate.
me? Kiki,
That's a
stop.
luxury I don't have.
Okay, you are speaking of isolated incidences in 2022. Not all white people own the stores. Not all white people own the pools. Like we have come so far forward. I don't understand why we have to stay stagnant in the past. Like I don't even understand that. Like we are so far forward. The fact that you can be a successful black man in America and you're still speaking as though you can't go swimming.
No,
I don't understand that. Like, when do we get to the point where we progress? When do we get to the point that we recognize that ignorance exists in this world, across the
See,
world? When do we get to the point that we say, you know what, there's just ignorant, dumb people in the world? There are racist people in the world in all spectrums. When do we get there and say that's just what it is, but I'm gonna keep it pushing?
I've said that. I keep it
No, you
pushing, but I
don't.
also
You're
speak
still
on it. That's the
speaking it
other side.
for what? Speak on it for what?
To give
People
it light,
recognize that. People
to give it
know.
light, to end it.
You're not telling people something they don't know.
Okay, but let me be clear again. I don't care. I'm not here to change hearts and minds of racist
Okay.
people, right? That's not my mission. That's never been my mission. I'm from Arkansas. I'm not here to change Billy Bob's opinion about me. But what I am here to do is remove some of the hurdles that I went through that maybe my son don't have to deal with, my daughter
Gotcha.
don't have to deal with.
Can I
So I
get one
speak
of those
about them.
hurdles?
And the
Can I
only
get
way,
one? Can I get one hurdle? Can you tell me one? Just one.
one hurdle,
Yes,
Yeah.
that you've gone through that you would like to remove.
yeah. So one of the hurdles that I went through is the driving while black. Let's remove that hurdle, right?
Okay.
Let's decriminalize black people having nice cars. Let's do that.
Okay. Yeah. It's happening right now in Philadelphia.
Okay,
How's that
Philly,
work?
great,
How's
but
that
let's do
working
that
out?
on a national level.
It's also working. It's
While
also
it,
happening in Baltimore. How's that working out?
it is, it's working. We are, and the thing
How
is
is
we
it
have
working out?
progressed. Let's
How is
let's
it
be
working
clear.
out?
Just because I am pointing out some of the ills that the system has today, if you are going to pretend that the system is 100% fair and perfect, then we don't even need to have this conversation.
I know
Because at the end of the day, if you
of
think
white people that
that
will
the
say it's not fair
Constitution was
too.
perfect, why do we have 20, 26, 27 amendments, right? Um, for that Constitution to even pass, we needed 10
An
originally, right?
amendment
So
is again, these are topics for lawyers that can explain.
we
The
don't.
average
No, no,
person.
no, 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 no. The law is something that
All right.
everyone
So
should
you
be
brought up the
abreast of.
amendment
You don't have
argument
to
that
be an
I've heard
attorney to
misused a
understand
lot.
the law.
No,
And
no,
the fact
because
that
you
you
just
have to
misused
be
it.
an attorney to
You just
understand the law,
misused it.
that is a function of
You
white
just misused
supremacy.
it.
Because it says
You're
that, hey,
saying that if
stupid person,
hold on,
you're
Kiki.
not smart enough to understand the word.
Kiki, the problem is that you just misused the analogy of why there is all these amendments. If it was so perfect, the amendment expounds the constitutional part, the what is being said. What is said now needs to be expounded on, needs to be explained, further deliberated, covers some of the areas that we think are dead spaces. That's what an amendment is. It's not something that says, "Oh, well, it's not perfect, let's add to it." No, let's clarify it. Let's come to an agreement. That's what an amendment is. So that's you just misused it by using that analogy. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I unmuted you.
Well, I disagree with your take, sir, because I will tell you that an amendment is to redress a wrong, right? We needed amendments to
This
free.
is what
So
I'm
did they
talking
pass an
about.
amendment to expound the rights of men, or did they pass an amendment to expound the rights of black men, right?
It's not to address a wrong, it's to deal with the dead spaces. And I'm sorry for cutting you off. The only reason why I'm doing that is because I don't want the long-winded answer. That's the only reason why I'm doing that. All I'm saying is it's not to address a wrong. There are dead spaces. When there are holes in the discussion, they have to fill those holes. And every time an issue happens, they're going to redress it. They're going to bring that to
So
the conversation.
the people that wrote that life, liberty, and the pursuit of freedom, which is really pursuit of property,
Happiness.
um, those people, you telling me that those people didn't know that black people should be free people? You telling me that these people didn't know that black people were not three-fifths of a human being? Is
No,
that
no,
is that what you're gonna
that's
say to
not
me, sir?
that was not the reason for the three-fifths compromise. You know that, right? The three-fifths compromise is what led to the abolition also of slavery. Again, this is the way you looking at things, and that's why it's become a problem.
Why do we have a civil war? I need to understand this from you.
Why
Okay.
we had a civil war? That's a great question. Like I said, it was you had abolitionists who were rooted in conservatism, who were also rooted in traditionalism, also rooted in religiosity, and they were convicted in their hearts because they didn't like how a certain group of people were being treated. The mistreatment was wrong, was dead wrong, and they fought and stood up and said, "We're not going to have this in our country no more. And if we're going to get a constitution together, we're going to have to start rooting this out." after the Constitution was written 70 years later, we had the Civil War. So, I mean, I don't know where else we've had that kind of success around the world. America has done that. And that's why you and I and Keisha love this country, because of the successes that we've had. But for some reason, we still have people hurling indictments towards this country because of the misuse or illegal use of force by the police. And we're then attributing that to white supremacy. Do you know how many black officers are guilty of use of force misconduct? A lot of them are. But we don't hear
Again,
the white
being
supremacy
black doesn't
discussion.
absolve you from upholding the tenets of white supremacy.
They have no
Especially
tenet,
when you
no
become a police
relation to the
officer,
ideology.
when the
They have
whole
no
entire
relation.
history of the police force was to catch slaves.
No,
right?
only
The
no.
entire
That's not
law
true either.
enforcement
That's
system
not
is
true
built
either. You
around
would have to
black
relook at that
people.
again.
When you look
There's
at
only
the
one
prison
area in the world.
explosion and expansion in this nation, that did not happen until when? After black people were freed. And in fact, to this day, we still have slavery in America. If you are convicted of a crime, you can be in slavery, which is what many of our men and women
Well,
in
don't
this
commit
prison
crimes.
industrial system that America has built for
There
us,
was only two
many of
Confederate
them are
states.
locked down, still in slavery to
Kiki.
this day, which is why
Don't
slavery is on the
commit
ballot in 5
crimes.
states in November in
Kiki, there
2022, which is ridiculous.
There was only two Confederate states that utilized a sheriff to do what is called slave catching. Out of all the Confederate states, there was only two states that utilized the sheriff. So to say that the police was created, the constables were created to do slave catching or the bid for the white man is a gross misinterpretation of the history of policing in this country.
I need everybody listening to go do their own research on slave patrols and the origins
I just
of
reiterated.
organized
I just
policing.
If you don't know how
in
to meet a
America.
person, if you don't know how to meet a person in the middle, you're not going to have the success that you're looking for. Because like I just said to you, there was only two states of the Confederate states that practice utilizing sheriffs to do slave patrols, to do slave catching, to do the bidding for the quote unquote white man. But you had constables, you had police officers, and that grew into enforcement of the law. So that's
No, it grew
different.
into
There's a
enforcement
distinction.
of black people. That's what it is. Enforcement of black people, right?
No, that was just only there was only two states of the Confederate states that practiced that.
What year was this again?
This was in
Again, historical context, right? I'm not saying that this is what's
Yes.
happening
Yes.
today, but I'm just telling you the
Historical.
origins of our police force, and it's tough history to hear,
No, it's not
especially when
actually
you
tough
are
to hear. It's not
subscribing
actually tough to hear.
and promoting the system that is
Oh, are we?
still
Are we?
overwhelmingly white supremacist.
Are we? Okay, you have to have checks and balance, right? So
Of what?
the easiest way not to be harassed by the police 9 times out of 10 is not to commit crimes, right? Like if you don't want to be like in like
No,
modern day
that's
slavery.
wrong. That's
Oh,
wrong.
it's wrong? Okay. My
Yes,
bad.
because
Okay.
in New York, in modern day times, let's talk about modern day times. New
Okay.
York City,
Go ahead, Macho. That's you. That's not me. Go ahead, Macho.
New York City,
Talking to
right? New York City had this thing called stop and frisk.
you. Mhm.
that's
People
every
of color
state in,
are about,
every state in
maybe
the
when you
union.
include our Mexican brethren and everything like that, we
Who?
probably make up about
Which
13 to
Mexican?
20,
Who's
maybe
Mexican?
25% of the population. But when you
Who's
look
Mexican?
at the results of stop and frisk, overwhelmingly the people that were stopped and frisked, 90% of those individuals were people of color. Why? When in fact white people commit about half the crimes in this
Yeah.
nation,
Well, okay, so
if
now
not
let me
more.
ask you a question, Keith. Since you're referencing the stop and frisk that was utilized here in New York and utilized to perfection under the Giuliani administration, Mayor Giuliani was the one that utilized stop and frisk, which is a nationwide practice. Nationwide. The Terry v. Ohio is a nationwide practice, stop and frisk. That police officers under the suspicion could literally go based off of reasonable circumstances to be able to stop and frisk someone.
Which
It's a
means, which
nationwide,
in
not just
terms
New
means
York.
if you're black and you got
So,
sagging pants and your hat is to the back or to the side,
which
you
is not
look
even
like
the
you
root
fit the
of the case.
description
It was not
of
even
a
the root
criminal.
cause of the case. It was not
Well,
even
pick
the
your
root
pants
cause of the
up.
case. I think you would need to read the Terry v. Ohio case. You will see nothing of the
That's
language
one
of
case, brother.
a person that was sagging their pants. You would not see anything about a race. You would not see anything about it. The reasonable
White
circumstances
supremacy
was
is hidden.
the
You
person was
looking for written
circulating and
case law
saying,
written by white supremacists to
Kiki,
uncover white
hold on,
supremacy, and that's your
Kiki,
first mistake,
Kiki, hold
sir.
on 1 second.
I know.
The
I'm
person was
just
circulating.
again like when you muted me because I was spewing some stuff that you didn't agree with or you actually felt was incorrect.
No, you're over
What I'm
talking.
telling you, if you're looking through white supremacist text written by white supremacists for the revelation of white supremacy, you're looking in the wrong place.
You're giving white people way too much power, Kiki.
I'm not giving
way
white people no credit. I'm just telling you what it is, sir.
Not
And that's
credit,
what I'm
way too
saying.
much power.
This is not an inferiority complex or a victim mindset. This is historical facts, figures, and this is me being
Do you
passionate
believe
about
that black
practices
people
that need
are
to end.
oppressed in this country? Do you believe
Because if you're
black
gonna
people
sit
are
here,
oppressed?
you're gonna sit here and say that stop and frisk wasn't a racist practice,
It
then
wasn't.
obviously you don't think racism exists.
How many times did they utilize the stop and frisk? You said 90% were black. I'll tell you this right now.
I said
According to the
90% were people of color.
Okay, 90. I'll tell you right now. Bureau of Justice Statistics also argues against that. 10 million stop and frisk happen in this country. Majority of them are done to white people.
Again, I was pointing out New York. White people make up the majority.
Okay, let's go to New York.
Hold on,
let's
stop,
go to New York.
real quick. Stop, real quick. You use the nation statistics because the nation statistics is always going to have more white people stop because there's more white people in this country. There are some states where black people don't really even exist like that. I mean, you can go to Montana looking for us. You might find 3 of us, but the rest of that state is literally white.
That's
Same
right.
thing with Idaho, Utah, and a few more states that I can name. So when you use the nation statistics, what that does is that covers up the white supremacy that's happening. But when you look at a state like New York, a state where we do a case study, where there are black people present and they're enacting that law in the state of New York, which is
what happened
to be liberal, Democrat bastion, black people were getting stopped at a rate of at 90% of that stop and frisk. 90, which is why they had to stop that.
According to the crime stat, if you believe that the crime stat was done appropriately, which I'm sure you're going to argue that they didn't, in 5 years consecutively, black and Hispanics led in 3 serious categories: rape, assault, and robbery and murder. They led in all
Can you
those
source
categories.
those statistics, sir?
The crime stat of NYPD. You can look at those crime stats. And of course, you're going to argue against those stats. You're going to argue that those are the white men doing that, which is pretty lazy.
You can let it go. I mean, we can move on. I think my
5
point
years
was
in a row, 5 years consecutive, black and Hispanics led in serious crimes such as murder, rape, and robbery. White people don't even cost for a fraction of what the numbers show. So why
is that a national statistic? Is that a national stat? Because the last time I checked, white people commit rape way higher than black people. When we use the nation, we're using that's fine. But I'm gonna tell you this: you will find the numbers of crime. This is how they use statistics to play us. This is how white supremacy uses statistics to play us, because they'll get somebody like you on here to pump up some statistics that they done pumped out. But what you have to understand is arrest can only happen where you're patrolling, right? So what I'm saying is our communities are over policed. Right? Not only are they over policed, they are underfunded with education. They are also lacking economic opportunities.
We don't commit any crimes.
So poverty is the biggest correlation to crime, not color. So what I'm telling you is if you have a white supremacist system that denies educational and employment opportunities to people of color, and then you mix that with enhanced policing or over policing, especially being brutalizing our community, and you're not even policing other areas, what you will find is that most of the arrests are going to happen where the police are. So those statistics, while they may be correct in your mind, they are skewed by how they are enacted. So it's going to look like, that the black people are the ones selling all the drugs, doing all the crime, selling all the pills, but we know that's not correct. Anyone with eyes knows that's not correct.
According to Bureau of Justice Statistics,
I know the Bureau of Justice, which you guys hate.
In the last 20 years, black people have been exonerated and let go out of prison faster at an accelerated rate to their white counterparts? Is that
Thank
still
the
a
Lord,
result of
because black people, you know why? Because black people are
they
wrongly
also have the
convicted
high
at a 50%
recidivism rate?
higher rate than white men.
They
Not only
also have
are
the
we
highest
arrested, but
recidivism
we're
rate.
then wrongly convicted. And then because so many of us have been wrongly convicted, those cases have to be overturned. We have to
Yeah,
spend additional
that's
capital,
beautiful.
additional resources to get our due justice, which should be free. But as
And
a black man, as we
how
all
do you
know, freedom
explain
ain't free,
recidivism?
especially for us.
How do you explain recidivism? Are they making up the charge too when they have to go back to jail for another crime they
So
possibly
what is
allegedly?
recidivism? Explain that, because I have a theory, but I would like you to explain to your people what
Yeah.
recidivism is,
So what
because
happens
I
is
have a
when they
hunch that
do
many of
get
them have no
Norma
idea.
Shapiro, you ever heard of Judge Norma Shapiro of Philadelphia let out a number amount of people, almost 70% of the people she let out of the 1,500 people in Philadelphia were all people of
Listen,
color, black,
if you are not
and
going to do anything about the conditions, because what did I
majority
just
of
say?
them all
What did
went
I
back to
just say?
prison.
I said the
Majority
strongest
of them all went
correlation
back
to
to prison.
crime is poverty. So if you're going to release those brothers out of jail, but put them back into the very same situations that caused them to be criminals in the first place, you're not going to have much success, Judge Shapiro.
Yeah, Norma Shapiro let out 1,500 people, and most
And
of
then they
them.
put them right back in. You know what? Again,
So they made up
yeah,
their crimes.
again, the strongest correlation to crime is poverty. So when you take criminals who have a
Okay,
record now, you take
stop.
people who have a record now against them, a strike against them, a F on their head, where
Mm.
employers are afraid to hire them, even though we have a labor shortage, even
Stop.
though, so they're not going to get hired
Stop.
because of their criminal background. And a lot of us know this. This is why a lot of black men end up starting their own businesses, because white supremacy says we don't even want you working for us
Okay,
because
and
you're
that's a
not
negative.
trustworthy.
And that's a negative. So they just pushed you into bettering yourself and owning your own business. So that's a
That's
negative.
not a
So
negative.
is
That's not
poverty.
pushing anything, but that's denying opportunities. And everyone doesn't have the
You
means
know,
or the capabilities to be a boss. Let's call a spade a spade.
uh,
Everybody ain't fit out to be a boss. There's
okay.
way more workers than bosses out here. And
Okay,
that's the
then
way
you
it's
know what,
supposed to be.
Kiki? You know what, Kiki? I'm gonna tell you something. The best thing you could do for yourself is not commit crimes and become a felon.
My other
There's some
point
Well, you
here.
know
accountability.
what? When my skin color is already criminalized, it's going to be tough for
Oh,
me to
Jesus.
stay out of the law enforcement's way. I'm someone
Okay.
that I've never committed a crime in my life. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? However, I've had many encounters with police.
All right. So poverty begets crime. I want to address that
Poverty
too.
is the strongest correlation to crime.
In
Yes.
San
Go ahead,
Francisco
Michael.
in 1960, a largest amount of Chinese Americans never once got arrested. They 0.1% of an
But
arrested
again, why?
was the poorest in the
Where are
state.
the police? Who
We're
is
the
policing?
poorest in the
Who is
state.
policing
Had
Chinatown?
the I can't
Probably
finish a
Chinese
point here.
people. You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't understand how can I not finish a point. This is not has nothing to do with the truth. I can't even finish a point with you, brother. All I'm saying is they were the poorest in the state, had the most egregious laws against them. You want to talk about hurdles? They had laws against Chinese people, and they were the poorest in the state. No one would hire them, and yet they didn't go to jail. Not even an inkling of police even brutalizing them at all. So how do you explain when poverty begets crime with that community? Now, go ahead and answer.
Yep. So again, the other factor is just because people are not being arrested does not mean the absence of crime. So that's the first thing I'm gonna say. Lack of arrest does not mean the absence of crime. So when you have a police force that is funded, I feel wholeheartedly, to enforce their laws against black people, they're not going to be riding around the Chinese community. You don't see police over policing the Chinese community. You know why? It's because they have a home nation that's going to protect them. Black people in America, we don't have a home nation to protect us. The
Oh,
Chinese people, they
baby
have an
Jesus.
entire country. And you know what? If America started locking up Chinese people at the same rate that they're locking up black people, World War III would already be upon us. But
Why?
because black people don't have the protection of a
Why?
home nation, we can't go to the consulate,
Wait,
we
wait, wait.
can't go to the
No, 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 no,
ambassador.
no, 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 no.
No. I'm just letting you know,
How do we
because
go to
you
World
put it
War
out there.
III
You're the
when
one
you
put it
have
out there
Chinese
about.
people?
But again,
If
because you are ignoring
Japanese
the
people,
fact that our communities are over policed.
Japanese people and Chinese people put in concentration camps. Did we have
And they were
another
also
World
given
War over it?
reparations for that move.
No, no, no,
So
no.
cut the
I
check.
understand that. I'm asking, did we have a war over it?
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
we were already at. It was World War II. We were already at war.
Right.
We were at war.
But did we go
Yes.
to war for putting them in concentration camps?
I will tell you that we dropped two. We did white
Did we go?
supremacy
Kiki, it's
did
very
committed
simple.
one of the
Did we go to
worst
war because we put them
atrocities
in
in
concentration
that
camps?
war. Right? They dropped bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The only time that nuclear weapons have been deployed. And again,
What happens?
they
What happens?
They didn't drop them. They didn't drop them bombs on Germany, but they did drop them on the Asian race. So
When-
again, white supremacy dropped bombs. You brought up a war where we actually
when Chinese people leave the state, when they leave their country illegally, and then they get deported back to China, what happens to them? Do you know?
I don't care. I really don't care. But what I do care about is
I'll
that
tell you
white
what
supremacy
happens.
dropped bombs on these nations.
I'll tell you what happens if they didn't
nuclear weapons.
Okay,
Utilize nuclear warfare when we didn't have to.
When a Chinese person leaves their country illegally and then gets deported because of a crime, most of the time they get the death penalty. Did you know that?
Okay, is China a democracy or is China a dictatorship?
You're moving the goalposts here.
I'm not moving the goalposts because you're the one that took it to the international level. I want to keep it about America.
All right.
Okay.
Hold on. You just said they have a home nation. That's why they don't rack them up. That's yeah. Maybe he needs to get some water real quick. It's okay.
Oh, here we come. He coming back. Okay.
All right. Here's where I'm. Okay. You're saying that America wouldn't rack them up because they have a home nation. If they've left their country illegally and they get deported because this country is saying, hey, they did something illegal, most of the time, China deals with them by way of death penalty. So how's the home nation going to protect them? That's my question.
Again, I don't live in China, but I will tell you that any Chinese person that's here, typically they're not going to be here illegally. All right. But let's say, and again, China is not a democracy.
Hold on.
China is a communist government.
So you concede to the fact that the home nation argument doesn't work?
No, I do not concede to that fact because again, if America started to mistreat, if America started to execute Chinese people in the street like they execute my black brothers and sisters in the street, you will see responses from China. And first of all, China, while I'm speaking about it, China is one of the few nations that's called out America for their treatment of African Americans. So
let's get it right. Put Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps by 6 million people. Yeah. They can call us out all they want. That's fine.
That's part.
Do you know that 6 million Uyghur Muslims, their own people, are put in concentration camps? Did you know that or not?
You talking about in China? Is that what we talk? We still talking about in China?
Yeah, in China.
Again, China is not a democracy.
So why would you care about them calling out the mistreatment of black people in this country?
Because what I'm pointing out is America does not treat Chinese people the way they treat black people because China would respond in an aggressive manner.
China wouldn't do shit.
That's the only thing that I'm pointing out. I'm not justifying what China is doing. I'm not saying that what they're doing is a great way to run a government. But what I am saying,
most of the hate crimes committed to Chinese people are done by black people, and China hasn't done shit. And in fact, they side with. So just so
at the end of the day,
be clear here.
I'm not gonna for real. If I can't get out of 2 sentences, what's the point? You know,
part of empathy is listening, and you're not doing that right now, Kiki. So that's the problem.
It's hard for me to listen to people that don't want to listen to me. But at the end of the day, I'm here, and I promise each hour's gonna come through. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And we are having a good discussion. I knew it could get heated, but you trying to put words in my mouth, though, bro. You're trying to put words in my mouth that says, oh, that I'm down with China or that they have a better system of government or why should I care? I'm just merely pointing out why other minorities in America that come from strong nations don't get treated like black Americans do. That's all I was just illustrating that point.
World War III right now. You start racking them up. That's what you said. It will be World War III. We start racking. So I said, if they get deported because they left their country illegally, they most likely will face the death penalty or 30 years in prison. So I don't know how the home nation argument worked for them, but I'm going to talk about this whole idea of agitation and I know that you've argued before earlier that you agitate those who agitate. So I want to get your assessment of what you think about this person called Bellamy. Are you familiar with him?
No.
Wes Bellamy was not elected by people, was appointed as vice mayor of Charlottesville. You familiar what happened in Charlottesville?
Yeah, white supremacy ran them off there. I remember.
Okay, good. Do you know anything about what happened between Jason Kessler and Wes Bellamy?
I don't know anything about that situation.
Jason Kessler was argued by the media that he's a white supremacist, he's a white nationalist, which he has undoubtedly said it many times he's not. Going up against a petition order against Wes Bellamy, who is a black man who has said some very incendiary statements that led up to the Charlottesville, which no one talks about. So he agitated, in my opinion, he agitated an entire scene in which a large group of people, white men, some were white nationalists, some were racist, but they came there by the way of Unite the Right rally. Have you heard of the Unite the Right rally?
Yeah, I heard of it.
Okay, do you know why they call themselves Unite the Right rally?
I have no idea.
Do you think it is deep rooted in racism?
If I don't know about it, I can't make that assertion.
Okay,
but based on what happened in Charlottesville, I think the results speak for themselves.
Unite the Right rally is a direct result historically that comes by way of Canada, where they decided to gather up liberals, neoliberals, and neoconservatives. They clumped them up together and called themselves Unite the Right movement because they wanted to get a certain amount of seats in office. So that's kind of like the way they're getting their thought process from Canada and Unite the Right. Many of people in the media immediately demonized them as a white nationalist party. I don't know how that bodes well for our fellow Canadians historically, but yeah. But again, they call Canadians white supremacists too. So here's a video clip here of Wes Bellamy in response to an arrest of a civil rights person, a black activist.
All right, the coalition heightened current proposed state legislation that would restrict voting rights impacting black and brown communities across the country and made note of its support of the recent black women-led protests, again, out there for voting rights. All right, we got to jump right in. We have our guest, Dr. Wes Bellamy here. He was one of the people, he was on the grounds. He saw exactly what happened today as well as what happened last week. Can you just tell us what led to the arrest today?
Sure, thank you so much for having me. Today, you saw a coalition of brothers from across the country, different fraternities, civic organizations, and the like, all demanding that we're going to stand together, we're going to be inclusive, and we're going to ensure not only that we support black women.
So I first want to ask you, Kiki. He has a shirt on that says, "Before you were a Republican, before you were a Democrat, you were black." Do the black community need to be reminded by that?
Absolutely. I think all communities need to be reminded of that.
Why?
Because parties are just political tools to further, in my opinion, white supremacy. I see white supremacy on left and the right. With that being said, in America, you're going to be tough to find any institution that's over 100 years old that didn't have some racist origins or racist ties or anything racist. Even the great American game of baseball has a racist past. The NBA has a racist past. The NFL has a racist past. So I think all black people need to be aware of the origins of a lot of these organizations and understand that, hey, we have progressed, but we have not progressed that far that has rooted out white supremacy, and white supremacy still dominates both the Republican and Democratic parties today.
Okay. Do you think that the black people in this country are oppressed?
I do, but we're not the only ones. I believe women in this country are oppressed. I believe, people of color, Latinos are oppressed. I do believe that Arabs are oppressed. I have friends.
Do you think that's an inferiority complex?
No, it's not. It's a reality. I think when people start to say, when you start to point out reality, and people start to say, "Oh, that's a complex," I think the complex is not noticing reality. That is the true complex.
Well, then how can you explain Wes Bellamy's success? He's highly successful. He's a doctor.
Again, because you are successful does not mean that white supremacy has ended, right? We had an entire city called, not Charlottesville, but the Black Wall Street situation in Tulsa. That was a successful city, self-serving, built by Black people, ran by Black people, very successful economically. They had social status. White supremacy came in and ended that, right? So again, your money and your success
What year was that
cannot
again?
protect you from the
1921.
ills of white supremacy. When
1921.
LeBron James became a Laker before he played his first game in California, in the liberal bastion of California, he had to pull up to his driveway with the N-word spray painted on his gate. Again,
Poor
You
LeBron.
racism
believe
is still
that?
His
alive
gate.
and well.
On his gate. Poor LeBron. Poor LeBron.
Poor LeBron. But again, I'm telling you that even as a
Was it
billionaire,
on his gate, or
LeBron
did he say that
cannot
it was
escape
on his
white
house?
supremacy. That's the point.
Did he?
It dominates.
Was it on his gate, or was it on his house? He argued.
What he had to deal with it. It was on his property. I
It was
don't,
on his house.
again, the
You
details and the
believe that?
semantics, we can get into
Do
the
you think that?
minutia, but
Do you think that he
the
has
larger
security
the
at
larger point
his premise?
that I'm pointing out is that your money and success will not save you from white supremacy.
So who put the N-word on his house? His own security?
Who knows?
Yeah, his own security detail, I guess.
I
don't know.
doubt it. I mean, his own security. Come on, man. This is see that this is the thing too. Because the conservatives, y'all delve in a lot of conspiracies lately. I went to a very conservative college where I had conservative friends, and what I understood conservatism to me, what that meant in the early 2000s, conservatism meant fiscally conservative. It also meant high morals and values. That's what conservatism meant
Socially liberal.
when I was
Gotcha.
growing up. Conservatism does not mean that today. Conservatism means that you have to go against anything you have to go against science. You have to almost be anti-intellectual. You have to go against anything that that Black people or people of color say. You have to be against it. You have
So
to
none of that
You
is
have to
agitating.
ignore the things that are happening in our systems systemically. You have to
So
ignore it, and then you have to point
none of
out
that is
the people who
agitating. What
were
you
able
just
to
said there.
navigate the system and say, "Hey, look at LeBron. They gave him $1 million, so white supremacy is over." And
So
that's
none of
ridiculous.
what you said is agitating, right? You just called conservatives, 81 million people, probably even more, not intellectual people.
No. I have some conservatives that are very intellectual, but I'm saying the conservative movement today appears to embrace anti-intellectualism. It appears to embrace
Yeah, that's subjective.
anti-blackness, definitely, and it's definitely
Yeah, subjective.
embracing. Go
Because it
ahead.
is or it isn't, right? You just said it appears. So I could
It
see it as something
appears to
completely
me. It
different.
appears because I'm not a conservative, and I don't show up at the conservative meeting, so I don't even know. But what I do know
Yeah.
What
is
you
that
know is
it
what you
seems
think
that
you know. That's
every
the
time we
problem.
have a discussion about race, my conservative friends either number one, they don't want to engage in the conversation, or they put out some conspiracy theory that's unfounded, like this LeBron security thing. That's the first time I ever heard that crap. You know what
I
I'm
just
saying?
threw
But
it
you
out
have
there
to
because
ignore the real racism in America to push forward your narrative that we live in this
did you know that
utopia.
there's no police report of LeBron James and the N-word on his house? Did you know that?
Because he don't need a police report. We
Got
don't
you.
need the
All right.
police for everything. That's the thing
All right.
about it. See,
So
again, we don't need the police to protect us. He got his own security because the police ain't doing a good job
and
protecting us no way. What
his
is a
own
police
security is
report
the
gonna
police.
do?
His own
Nothing.
security is the police. All right. Now I
It
want to
ain't
ask
gonna
a
do
question for this
nothing.
shirt. I want to ask you a
Right.
question about this shirt. What if a white person said before you were a Democrat, before you were a Republican, you were white? How do you feel about that shirt?
Hey, if white people want to express pride in their race, that's on them. But the thing is this
Oh.
man is calling to attention what blackness is, and that's the thing. It's like black people have been marginalized in this country. That's the first thing you need to understand. This
Hold on a
country is
second.
not by just the people. The government, the justice system, the education system, all of
Okay.
these things have marginalized black people historically. And
You
so
know what's
now when black
interesting?
people are like, hold on, wait a minute. When we start to get our own things like BET, I got people saying, why we ain't got no white entertainment television. And it's
Okay.
because every channel is white entertainment television. That's
Okay.
why.
No,
But
you
the
know
point that
why?
I'm making is because that man used the word black, which is just a color. Somebody is now upset because he is showing love for his people. Like black people can't even give love to our own people without supporters of white supremacy being upset.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. So if someone white had that, they would be a member of the
Because if you have,
KKK.
let
They would
me say
hold
it.
on.
If you're white and you
Jesus,
need to remind people that you are white, if you're running around with White Lives Matter on your shirt, if you're running around with white power on your shirt, you're showing who you really are. Because
okay.
white people have the
Kiki.
power. Me,
Okay.
is it illegal
Kiki.
to do that? No. Is someone gonna lock you up for doing that?
Kiki.
No. But it
Hold
does
on, Kiki.
show a
Hold on.
certain ideology and a lack of understanding, right?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
that's where we're coming from. And this is what I'm
Okay.
saying, a lack of understanding. Black people
Okay.
do black things because we were locked out of the white society for so long. And now that y'all have
We have a
accepted us
lack of
in the
understanding.
last 10, 15 years, y'all expect us to just drop everything that's black. We have to and that's the
Okay.
thing, when you're a black person,
Jesus.
you have to you almost have to assimilate yourself. You have to forget.
All right. Kiki, you're
Okay.
over
Kiki.
talking. Let's let Keisha
Okay.
talk here.
Listen, I've been doing real good because I don't normally stay this quiet. Okay, so I've been trying. But you know what, Kiki? Here's the thing. We are black. We are black in our skin. We don't need to walk around. I don't need to be reminded I'm black. I wake up every day and see that I'm black. Okay. So when you say that if a white person did put that shirt on, now it's white power because they have the power. Again, Macho told you you're giving white people entirely too much power. We are thriving. We are succeeding. We are doing great things. LeBron, who's behind the gates, is making how many millions and billions of dollars dribbling a basketball and he's sitting behind the gates, but he wants to talk about what's going on in the community.
Yeah.
He told old girl to stay in Russia. But I can tell you right now, if LeBron was in Russia, he would not be LeBron James. So there is some things that are warranted to you in the United States of America. The way you can make money, LeBron's skin is not stopping him from creating a fortune. The color of his skin is not stopping him from creating a fortune. He is a black man living in America worth billions of dollars. Can someone, anyone, everyone scream, explain to me how this is possible in your ideology of white supremacy?
Folks, I also just want to remind everybody there are sound alerts. You guys can navigate through the channel, look on the page, look for the sound alerts. You guys can chime in with your sound alerts on there that I've added and inputted. So if you guys want to, you guys can. Let's get back to this video clip here and continue to commentate.
And our sisters who have been leading, but we will demand voting rights, and we're going to do everything possible within our power to make our voices heard, to fight for what is ours, and that specifically is voting rights and ending the filibuster.
All right, now it's your constitutional right to assemble. Why do you think today your fellow brothers, last week your fellow sisters and mothers were arrested?
Well, the laws that we currently have in place are based on basically a foundation of white supremacy.
All right. This is about voting rights. Okay. Now, this is based on white supremacy, the whole idea of redistricting versus, the whole gerrymandering argument between Democrats and Republicans. Now, are black people being disenfranchised to vote in 2021 when this happened, Kiki?
Yes.
How?
Okay. So what happens today is they are trying to limit ballot boxes in our community, limit the ways that we can vote. When you see, state legislatures closing down polling places, when you see state legislatures decreasing the daylight hours that you are allowed to vote, when you see voting is something super simple. We all can pay our taxes online. We all can pay our taxes through the mail, and it's not a problem. But when we start creating ways for Black people to make the ballot box more accessible to those who might be in disadvantaged situations, there seems to have been a problem, because there wasn't a problem until certain people started to lose elections, right? So what you see today is a very strong movement of not only gerrymandering, which means redrawing districts and making the black voice muted out by the white voices that are there. You also see suppression at the ballot box. And that's something that we're seeing. And state legislatures are passing laws, making it legal,
How they're
making
suppressing?
it legal. Now, I have a story because I worked in politics briefly for a Democratic candidate in the state of Arkansas. And anyone who can, you can go back and you can check the news articles. But this happened in a Democrat race. Primary election is Democrat versus Democrat. But I, of course, was working for the opposition, not the sitting Democrat. But we're trying to get somebody in there new that's going to be more progressive and more, accustomed to the views of progress, right? So what happened was is we pushed that election to a runoff situation. What happened 3 days before the runoff election? 3 days before the runoff election in the county where our candidate won the highest number of votes, 3 days, so on a Friday, elections are Tuesday. So on a Friday, the election county commissioner announced that 26 polling places that were open on election day were now going to be closed. So instead of us having 29 polling places in Garland County, which is where Hot Springs, Arkansas is, it's been reduced to 3.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is now that you went from almost 30 polling places to now 3. Okay. So what happens is that reduces the number of people that can participate in that election. And what happened is we went on and we lost that election. Now, and the next day on that Wednesday,
the
the election county commissioner
participation?
resigned. So what I'm showing you is an illustration of voter suppression within the Democratic Party. So these are Democrats.
I need more clarity
that did that.
How does that reduces the participation?
How?
If there was
What do you
just
mean?
one
If I had,
but if there was just
I
one
had to
polling
go,
location,
hold on, let me just explain to you how politics works, because typically you're going to have lower turnout in a runoff election anyway, right? But not to the point where you need to close 26 polling places. What I'm telling you is you have to make it easy for people to participate. It should be simple. I should be able to cast a vote from my computer. I should be able to do that, but we're not going to get into that right now. But the point that I'm making is now if I had to walk a block to vote, but now I got to walk 3 miles to vote, that's going to dissuade some people. Now, there's going to be some people that are super active like myself. There's going to be other people like you guys that are still going to find a way, hell or high water, to vote. But the average citizen is not going to walk 3 miles to a polling place, especially when they just walked a block a couple of weeks ago. And you're not even letting people know. So what's happening is people are showing up to their old polling places, not even realizing those places are now closed. So when you constrict the number of polling places, what you're actually doing is you are limiting the number of people that can participate. And what we see this restriction happening is only happening in Black and brown communities in a lot of red states.
So how come in Fulton County in 2020 in Georgia, when they closed a considerable amount of polling places due to lack of money, how come the average citizen was willing to wait average about 50 minutes to an hour and a half, despite the massive shortages there?
Let me tell you why. Stacey Abrams. We have a great candidate in Stacey Abrams who activates
This was for the
the
presidential
public.
election.
Hold on, let me finish. So when you have someone, a strong ground campaign, which definitely in Georgia, the Georgia Democrats, hats off to them because they were able to overcome these restrictions because they anticipated these things. You see, this is a newer tactic that's being used because we've seen these things play out in my election. We were caught off guard. We had no idea that the election county commissioner, who was a Democrat, would close 26 polling places. But now, as Democrats, we know, we're like, oh, the sitting government, they will do whatever they can do to remain in power. So they don't want people participating because the more people that participate are going to get those clowns out of there. All of us believe that there should be term limits. All of us believe that the people who are serving in Congress right now are too old to really represent America. They're not representative of America, right? But what happened in Georgia is they anticipated the snake games. They anticipated these things, and so they educated the voter. And that's what you have to do. In order to win elections today, you have to educate the voter of the tactics that the other side is going to use. So hey, understand that, hey, bring 2 copies of your ID, bring your social security card, bring all these extra documents, bring everything that you can, because they're going to do everything in their power to keep you from marking your preferred candidate.
Okay, so my question was, they closed down polling locations, and yet they still responded to the other polling locations, to which your argument is like, they closed down 26, they only had 3. They had significantly a less amount of polling locations in 2020 for the presidential election in Fulton County, and people were willing to wait to stand out there in the rain. Some were willing to stand out there for 8 hours. Why did they do that then? If
They did it
closing
again.
down is a problem.
They did it because they knew what was at stake. Number one, you got a polarizing guy running for president, so that's going to bring out a lot of people. That's going to activate people by itself. But then you also have a supporting candidate that you can vote for. So you're not just voting against somebody, you're actually motivated to vote for somebody. And so again, because the Democrats in Georgia educated the voter and set up an infrastructure that allowed whether it's van pools, different ways for those people who might have had to walk those 3 miles. Now we've set up rides for those people because we were able to anticipate what was going to happen when they shut things down. Again, when you have more than 3 days to prepare for something like that, you can actually set up a campaign. You can set up awareness. Hey, this polling place at your library is not going to be open anymore, so we're going to have to go 15 miles up to this middle school over here. When you know that in advance, you can plan for it. So that's what happened. And I'll tell you, if they didn't close down those polling places, Georgia would be bluer than it is today, and it wouldn't have been as close. We would have known who would have been president on election day.
Right. And you said voting for a candidate, not against. 70% of the voters in Georgia voted against Donald Trump. They took a survey poll in that. So I don't know how you explain that. I don't think
Georgia's
they
wrong.
voted for.
Because what I'm saying is they were also motivated to vote for. They did vote against Donald Trump. Trust me, that activated a lot of people because a lot of people didn't like Donald Trump's overt racism. Right? A lot of black people don't like that, especially in Georgia. Those people in Georgia, they know what racism is. They're not blind to it. And I had people who are not Democrats, who are freaking socialists, communists, super leftists that would never vote for any Democratic candidate. And they say, you know what, man, I got to vote for somebody because this guy right here is a danger and a threat to America. And I think what's coming out in the news and what's coming out today is definitely, he was justified in saying that.
Right. Okay. Despite the fact that Opportunity Zones was initiated by the previous administration in helping out the black community in Georgia, despite the fact that Stacey Abrams can't coherently know what science means when the heartbeat is heard by the ultrasound.
You want to take that up with the voters of Georgia, sir? I don't vote in Georgia.
Well, I'm just saying we're speaking.
I know, but again, you want to relitigate. You want to make up the minds of the voters of Georgia. Again, that election is over and done with, right?
Yeah.
I think.
I think you'll be surprised to know that almost 80% of Georgians actually do vote Republican. You'll be surprised by that. Then it's okay.
But there are pockets that vote Democrat, right? Because it is a southern state. You're going to have more conservatives, but
with the Brexit movement, you're in trouble there because a lot of people in Fulton County have joined the Brexit movement, which is started by.
I don't even know what that movement don't even register on my radar.
It started by Candace Owens, to the person who was standing next to Kanye West.
Which lets me know your movement ain't going far at all.
And to know that Brexit has also joined forces with guys like Killer Mike, T.I., and they're large influencers in Georgia. So good luck with the 2024 elections, especially in 2022, because a lot of people are waking up to what's going on. I really want to play the rest of this clip here, and I have another clip for us to get through. So let's.
Whenever we decide to stand up for what's right, specifically people who look like us, we are going to be incarcerated. You saw what happened on January 6th. And as we were locked up last week and as my brothers were locked up today, we saw the tale of two Americas. It's no different in the Capitol building, but that doesn't mean that we're going to stop or that we're not going to fight. We will do so on all fronts.
Well, you talk about the tale of two Americas. When they passed that anti-hate bill, with the increase in violence against Asians, it was almost passed. It was passed unanimously almost. But here we are,
right.
still waiting for the John Lewis Voting Act to be passed, the H.R. One for the People to be passed. What do you think it is about bills when it comes to us that lawmakers sometimes, or at least it seems, they drag their feet?
Well, we know what it is, white supremacy. There's no other way for us to get around it.
All right. So now again, this sounds a lot like you, Kiki, where white supremacy is like ketchup. We can just put it on everything. We can just literally blame everything on white supremacy. The state was formed based on white supremacy. The Constitution was written based on white supremacy. The very uniform you wore in the military is based on white supremacy. The car you sit in is white supremacy. The mic you're talking into is white supremacy. I'm having a hard time with a lot of this rhetoric. And this
I
is
know
where
you're having a hard time with it because you're choosing to have a hard time with it because you know that the Constitution was written in white supremacy. You know that
I
some of the
know.
things that you mentioned are in fact white
Those are
supremacy, but you
agitating
also know that some
statements,
of the
by the
things
way.
like this microphone is not a representation of not a representation of white supremacy. Again, what you're doing is you're belittling
Generalizing. I'm
you're
generalizing.
belittling the
Of
movement,
course I
right?
am.
You're
Yeah, I am
belittling
belittling.
white
Just like you,
supremacy,
just
and
like
you
you,
are, and
just like
again,
you grossly misunderstood to simply say that I know that the Constitution was written based on white supremacy. You don't know how I know things intellectually, so don't assume. Let's not do that. So I do not believe that the Constitution was written based on white supremacy. If you read the Federalist Papers, you would know that the
I was
founding
just
fathers
about to bring up the Federalist Papers.
you
Let's
know
bring it
that
up.
you
John
know
Jay
that
had a lot to say.
you know that the men were arguing about the institution of slavery, to which we had the least amount of slaves in the western part of the world. So we had the least amount, but yet we had the biggest argument on the hill over this topic. And yet 700,000 lives, mostly white men, died for that freedom. And yet we're still arguing, agitating over it. And I don't understand why. You have been very successful by going through the military. You're doing good. You're doing great. A lot of black males are doing good, despite the fact that the crime stats are revealing that they're committing a lot of the violent crimes in these municipalities such as New York City, Compton, California, Little Rock, Arkansas. And you could blame that all on white supremacy based on how they're articulating the crime stats. But the stats and the facts do not back up your claims. And that's why we're in this vicious cycle. So I don't know how you see what's the end game goal here. This is just I don't know what the end game goal here is, Kiki, honestly. And this is probably why you're not seeing any
To
success in
abolish
the
the
way that you want.
systemic oppression. That's the end game.
That's
Again, I'm not here to
inferiority
change
complex.
hearts and minds of white
That's an
supremacists or their
inferiority
supporters.
complex. And
I'm
Tim
here
Keller,
to like Dr. Bellamy, and y'all should give him his proper respect as a doctor, right? What Dr. Bellamy was illustrating and saying is that, hey, we all know what this is, and those of us that have a understanding and a historical context of what this nation has done to Black people historically in past times and today, we understand what the real threat is. And the biggest problem for the Black community is that we've never had a requisite answer for white supremacy. And until we can deal with that,
Oh my
we're going to
God.
continue to be in this vicious cycle of issues.
This is painful.
all right. So you said we should give Mr. Bellamy his respect. In a tweet that he tweeted, just as he had to answer to as a vice mayor of Charlottesville, right before the riots, by the way, which is what led to the riots, which no one really wants to talk about. Do you think this is a conduct becoming of a person in politics to speak in this way, a person who is intellectual? Do you think that a person should be saying this? A question that prompted, does it make males uncomfortable when girls are so upfront about sex? It only makes faggots uncomfortable. Do you think that was a very appropriate thing for a doctor, a person who's seeking validation for the Black community? You think that's something that you would want to be a part of?
He misspoke.
Oh!
Unfortunately, we do that. I mean, we had a president that said he likes to grab women by the pussy. That's not keeping people from voting from him,
Yeah.
So if we want to talk about misogyny, we want to talk about let's really have a real conversation about it. And let's compare tweets. Let's compare comments, right?
Yeah,
To
sure.
who
We
we're
could do that.
voting for. for me, again, if the opposition is a white supremacist, and the only thing that the other guy said, he once said the F word, I might make the decision, to pull a lever for him. I mean, there's been
Here's
cases,
another
and we
tweet. I
know,
don't like
time
I
out,
don't
and we
like
know
white
that
people.
Republicans are very loyal to their candidates. Right now, we have a candidate in
I don't
Georgia,
like white people.
Herschel Walker, who
Hold on, we
actually
don't have a
had
lot
an
of time.
abortion, paid for
Kiki,
an
hold on.
abortion,
We don't have a
lied,
lot
said
of.
he was a part of the FBI, but people are still going to go pull the lever for him. People who are
I don't like.
pro-life
I don't
and
like
people
white
who
people.
are pro-truth are going to
Yeah.
go pull the lever for a liar and someone who is guilty of
It's
abortion.
mudslinging, but
That's
we
fine.
all know that is what it is.
It
All right.
happens.
He also said, I don't like white people, so I hate white snow. Fuck my life.
That's him. Again, that's him. He doesn't speak
Wes
for
Bellamy.
everyone. Again, he can feel that way, but however he felt, that's a
He's
reaction.
speaking for the black community right now. So he's speaking for
He's
everyone.
not speaking for the black community. He's speaking for
Yes, he is.
himself.
He's
He's
speaking
not.
for the black
That's
community.
what I'm saying. And that's what white supremacy does. White supremacy likes to take the least of things that black people do and make them represent the totality of the entire population.
Brother,
But when I can
person
bring up some quotes from a white person, white leader, that said monkey
racial
and
jungle.
all this
Racial
racist
jungle.
stuff,
I don't
the
want
N-word,
my kids
and
going
you'll
to
still
school
go
with
listen
them.
to this podcast, Joe
I don't
Rogan.
want my.
You know what I'm saying? So again, black people, we have to be impeccable. And this is why this brother, Dr. Bellamy, he made a mistake in saying the F word. He made a mistake saying that he hated white people. Because at the end of the day, that's not an ideology that I subscribe to, nor any of my inner circle subscribes to.
Sure.
But because he's not perfect, white supremacy wants to say that's an indictment on the entire black community and the movement that he represents, which is false. That's a false equivalency.
Jason Kessler, who was the leader,
who is a white supremacist, and his father, since we've been sitting here talking, I've been doing my research.
So now, continue doing your research because I got more for you. He was leading the Unite the Right, where you had the people with the tiki torches, Jews were not replacers, you were not replacers. Yes, all that white nationalism that was said. Jason Kessler had a permit to be there. Wes Bellamy wanted to revoke that permit, right? So before it got to the place of it becoming a riot, what did Wes Bellamy wanted to do? Revoke that. But everyone has a voice. Everyone could speak. The First Amendment, we're in a free country. Can you answer to that? Why would it be okay for one side to speak and the other side can't?
Again, here we are again. I don't agree with not allowing white supremacists to speak. Give them a space to spew their ignorance.
There you go. So why be there and why revoke the privilege to be able to speak?
Well, you would want to do that if you believe that this speech is dangerous, right? If you believe that this sort of speech incites riots, which ended up what actually happened, if you believe that sort of speech is incendiary, right? We do have a freedom of speech, but that freedom of speech is limited, right? I can't go in a theater and yell fire, right? But hold on, let me finish. Let me finish real quick.
Oh my God.
I cannot go in a quiet theater or a theater and just go in there and yell fire inside of a crowded theater. You know why? Because freedom of speech doesn't protect that. So what I'm saying, if you're somebody that's spewing hate, if you're somebody that's spewing BS, there is theories that say that you should not be allowed to spew hate and incendiary comments, which is why social media, a lot of people have been taken down. They took down Alex Jones. They also took down Minister Farrakhan. You know what I'm saying? So again, while I'm somebody I'm free speech to the fullest, but just because your free speech comes with limits, that's what y'all need to understand. Your free speech comes with limits.
The white nationalist Jason Kessler voted for Barack Obama and was a registered Democrat until he came a person named
You know what? You know how many people that voted for Barack Obama that turn around and vote?
Before he had to deal with a man called Wes Bellamy, who is the true agitator in all of this, which is why he's not in politics anymore. He's behind the scenes now, picking the strings and now doing all that stuff. Why? Because he's having greater success at stimulating the arguing and provoking these riots. He's agitating this stuff. That's what he's doing. Jason Kessler was literally, yes, he has to pay money for liability issues, but could not be convicted of any criminal wrongdoing in Charlottesville. Can you explain that with his hate speech and all?
Imagine a white supremacist not being convicted in a white supremacist court. Imagine that.
There goes ketchup again. All right, ketchup.
Okay, thanks for coming, Kiki. We appreciate you. Thank you. We are glad that, you know what, there's like 10 minutes left in this show, and I would like 10 minutes of sanity. So I appreciate you, Kiki. Thank you for showing up and being the Kiki that you are and getting on my last ever nerve that I even had.
Hey, Keisha, I love you, girl. Hey, I appreciate the invite. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all. Y'all continue to do what y'all doing. Invite me back real soon. I'll come back. We can do this again.
All
All
right,
thanks.
take care.
Bye-bye.
Wow. What? Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I got to start another poll. Let's take another poll, folks. Dude,
Whoo!
what
Okay.
in God's name was that? Holy smokes.
So the next time, ladies and gentlemen, when you guys say you want opposition on this show, just remember that's what's out there.
All right. Is white supremacy.
Can we never say that word again? Like, I don't even
You
want
know
to
what?
hear it.
At this point, I don't even want to say it. Yeah, I had enough. I've heard it so much in this freaking conversation that I'm just like, can we? It's like what? It's like ketchup, like racism. Ketchup. Put it on everything. Put it on everything. Oh, why my boys got locked up? Right, white supremacy. Put ketchup. You know, racism. We could attribute everything to it. What is it? Take a shot. What is Oh, take a
Yeah,
shot.
so every time you say it, we're supposed to take a shot. We're all have alcohol poisoning and are on our way to the ER. Here's the thing, and you know, after I lost all of my mind, it was probably best that I just stay quiet at this point. What I think is very, very interesting about Kiki is not at any point did he take any accountability for anything, right? So we're not accountable for our actions. It's because of this, it's because of that is the reason why we did what we did. I'm good.
Yeah, and I don't like those odds, right? Blaming it on everyone else means that we don't get better, right? It
Yeah.
means that we just sit stagnant. I don't like those odds when the control still belongs in someone else's hands. I want to dictate what I want to do. So if this system that you call white supremacist says do this for a success cycle, I'm going to do it. I'm going to break that system by making the most money possible. I'm going to crush you in my wallet. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to live the best fruitful life. I'm going to raise my kids. I'm going to love them. And it is what it is. There are evil people in this world. What are we going to do about it?
Yeah,
Right?
and you know what's even ironic about when you say that is that he makes it sound though it doesn't allow for you to have any accountability, right? So if you want to do bad things, it's someone else's fault. It always gives you an out, right? There's never accountability. But when you are successful, it's because you worked hard, it's because you jumped over all the hurdles, it's because you did all of these things, and that's what made you successful. But the fact that
Woodrow,
you're just a derelict and an idiot and a menace to society, that's someone else's fault. That's the part that is a problem for me.
yeah. Woodrow Wilson was probably the most racist president we've ever elected in this country.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yet the black community was still thriving under him. Well,
Still
you
thriving.
don't say, because we're resilient people. We
That
do not.
part.
This is what I'm talking about. We're resilient. Like, oh, you, yeah, we can't go that way. Look at us now. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So I'm just like, it is what it is. There are going to be evil people in this world. It's a battle between good and evil. This is not about, yes, one thing I would agree with Mr. West Bellamy or Kiki's of the world. Yes, this is not about Republican and Democrat. Every one of us has said that. At the end of the day, this is good versus evil. And yes, it could be subjective, Keisha. It could be relative. What we decipher what's good and evil. Hey, at least you know that we have some kind of a moral compass. So at the
Exactly.
end of the day, just because this person is saying, hey, we don't want a statue being taken down, because that's what really sparked all of this. The vice
Right.
mayor, West Bellamy, wanted to take it upon himself and lead this initiative to say, hey, take the Robert E. Lee statue down. What do you think is going to happen? Robert E.
Right.
By the way, newsflash: Robert E. Lee never owned a slave. So
Okay.
why are we taking down this? Oh, because he fought for the Confederate Army. Why did he fight for the Confederate Army, dum dums? Where did he live? Is he going to fight in the Union against his own territory where he lives, so the Union can destroy his land? Like,
Macho.
All right.
Stop speaking these hard facts. Okay, that's not the truth. Kiki didn't say it, so therefore it's not the truth. He's
No,
still in trouble.
You know what, Laura? If they want a George Floyd, I don't give a damn about one single statue. I'm with the Hodge twins on this. Conservatives, let go of the damn statues. I don't give a
There,
damn. The
yeah,
history will remain. We are the bearers of the history. We speak it. We pass it on our legacy bearings. We don't need a statue because most people walk by those statues every day. Most people piss on those statues. Most people have sex on those statues. No one gives a damn about the statues
that
at the
part,
end of the day.
that part.
So I don't care. You want to keep a George Floyd statue? You want to worship your statue? Then by all means, worship your statue. I'd rather worship God. Period.
All right. On that note, I want to say there was a comment from someone that was coming in from YouTube. I think it was. They want a call in line. They wanted to be able to call in and light up on Kiki.
Oh yeah.
We're
So
working on that.
yeah.
We are working on
As
that.
we expound this radio broadcast, we are definitely going to have people for call in. We're going to have a number that comes up on the side of the screen. So all of you, because we all want to hear your take, and I wish we would have had you guys ask them some questions, but I don't really think we would have had a mutual outcome. Not to agree to disagree, but just kind of where do we stand and where do we not stand? Because we're not totally apart from each other. Like, he grew up in an area where I grew up. Like, I grew up in a hard neighborhood. There's some areas where we could have
No,
intersected.
no. Kiki wants an excuse for bad things, period. That's just the nature of the beast. He wants to be able to blame somebody. He lives in a victimhood. Meanwhile, he went to the military, got out of the hood, is living in San Diego, California. I want you guys to know it's not cheap to live there.
One of the most
Uh,
expensive
and
places to live in this country.
and I would love to know what he's doing for that very community in which, it is what it is. There you go. That was macho. So with
He
that
said
being
hot. He said hot. Listen, if you see a black man rubbing up on somebody on a statue, just
that's
know it's
AJ.
AJ.
All right.
All right,
All right.
y'all. It's been good. It's been real. Also, did we have an issue navigating through the page? Because I didn't hear any sound alerts. Tell me what's going on. I need feedback. So if anyone, Brian, text me, anybody want to text me, let me know. Are you able to utilize the sound alerts? I have a lot of sound alerts there. So if you guys were not able to utilize that, just let me know so I can try
It
to
says right
fix it.
there, it wouldn't let you do it.
And why would it? What would come up?
It said, no, I tried. The alerts don't work, AJ said.
Did you have to buy bits? There's a bit
It
option.
said, no, I don't know. But we need to play
Okay.
with that and figure it
We'll
out
figure
then.
it out. We'll
All
figure it
right,
out.
cool.
All right, guys. And for you newcomers, Sweet Kiss, and there was another one from Australia. Thanks for tuning in today. Hopefully you tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Get the merch at ajsrantroom.com. Morning Fix mug, Morning Fix t-shirt, ajsrantroom.com. Go get it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.